I absolutely support Israel's right to defend itself. In fact, I think you have a duty as a country and a responsibility to your people to try and stop Hamas doing again what they did. And only last week, a Hamas spokesman said that they would try again and again and again to replicate what happened on October the 7th. So you don't need to keep telling me how bad Hamas are. I get it, and they have to go. It's just how you do this. And that is what is coming under criticism. Queen Rania of Jordan has called for an immediate ceasefire in a new interview. She says there has to be a collective call for a ceasefire. I know some who are against a ceasefire arguing it will help Hamas. However, in that argument, they are inherently dismissing the deaths and, in fact, endorsing and justifying the deaths of thousands of civilians. That's not just morally reprehensible, short-sighted, and not entirely rational. If Israel, she says, managed to eliminate all of Hamas, the root cause of this conflict is its illegal occupation and routine human rights abuses, illegal settlements, disregard to UN resolutions and international law. If we do not address the root causes, you can kill the combatant, but you cannot kill the cause. What is your response to Queen Rania?
I don't intend to start arguing with Queen Rania because I know exactly the considerations and the limitations of the Jordanian regime under the circumstances, but I would expect a much better understanding of the situation on the ground. First of all, there must be no justification under any circumstances, none whatsoever, to the atrocities that we have seen and gone through, and no justification to terror, none whatsoever. By the way, this hate regime that attacked us, the first thing they'll do, unfortunately, they'll try to attack Jordan as well. We're all in this together. They'll try to attack other regimes as well. They're all in this together. We're all in this together. We are all nations who want to move to peace, and we're attacked by this philosophy of hate of Al-Qaeda, ISIS, Hamas, Jihad, and the rest. They want all of us out of here, and they all want all of us wiped off, and they want a major Islamic fundamentalist regime throughout the Middle East. That's the real story, and that's the real challenge. With all the respect regarding settlements and all that, these are issues that have been discussed in a peace process. They should be discussed in a peace process. There are many ideas to have peace between us and the Palestinians, and how to move towards solutions such as the two-state solution. But it cannot happen if you support or if you give any credit in any way, directly or indirectly, to terror. We cannot accept terror. We have to fight terror. And then, when we fight terror, we can sit down and talk. We tried sitting down and talking for decades already.
Unfortunately, like I said, Mr.
remember,
President,
in the 1990s, Piers, in the 1990s,
I remember.
In the 1990s, terror, suicide bombers killed the process. That's the same like now. That's their tactics. That's how they do it.
But there are many people, Mr. President, as you know,
the entire region to fight terror.
I understand that. And like I say, I agree with the mission statement to get rid of Hamas, but I share people's concern about the sheer scale of what is going on in Gaza, not least the mounting humanitarian crisis. You have over 1 million people whose homes have been displaced. Angelina Jolie, the actress, is also a special envoy to the UN High Commission for Refugees. She said this is the deliberate bombing of a trapped population who have nowhere to flee. Gaza has been an open-air prison for nearly 2 decades and is fast becoming a mass grave. 40% of those killed are innocent children. Whole families are being murdered while the world watches, and with the active support of many governments, millions of Palestinian civilians, children, women, families, are being collectively punished and dehumanized, all while being deprived of food, medicine, and humanitarian aid against international law. By refusing to demand a humanitarian ceasefire and blocking the UN Security Council from imposing one on both parties, world leaders are complicit in these crimes. So she's saying that you are committing war crimes here. What do you say to that?
That I totally reject her claims. I think she's never been in Gaza. She's never been here. She never went to visit and see the facts on the ground. With all due respect, people in Gaza know there is war, but there is no humanitarian crisis that does not enable them to survive. On the contrary, there is a safe zone which was agreed by the international community in Israel, in the south part of Gaza, in order to move the citizens to that zone, to take full care of them. There's a major dramatic increase in humanitarian aid to Gaza, which Israel has supported dramatically in conjunction with the United States and the United Nations and many other nations. The Gazan people they can move there so that we uproot this terror regime. This is what we know. Angelina Jolie does not offer the Israeli people any ability to defend themselves by saying what she is saying. And may I speak about her comment that Gaza is a jail. Gaza is a jail not because of Israel. Israel pulled out of Gaza to the last inch. Gaza is an Iranian base filled with terror, smuggled with tons and tons and tons of ammunition. This is the tragedy that has befallen the Gazan people. Perhaps the outcome of this war will enable the Gazan people who deserve decent, good life to enjoy it under a different regime that will enable movement towards peace.
But part of the problem,
and may
Mr.
I
President,
add further? Wait. I have to clear this point, Piers, with all due respect.
Yes, of course.
It was the Hamas who destroyed the electricity lines of Gaza by shooting these missiles. It was Hamas who destroyed the water infrastructure of Gaza by shooting these missiles. Israel is supplying water. Israel is enabling humanitarian aid, despite the fact that not one detail came about the hostages who are there now in Gaza. 240 of them, not one.
Just to
Israeli
clarify one
people
point.
are asking themselves time and again,
Yeah.
how come, with all these hypocrites all around the world, how come none of them bother to say, you know what, humanitarian aid, give information about the hostages, release the hostages. It can't go this way. You'll tell me, of course, the civilians are not to blame. Fine, if the civilians are not to blame, then please enable Israel to uproot these terrorists